The first time my ex's mother called me after the breakup, I almost didn't answer. Her name flashed across my screen while I was halfway through replacing drywall in a cramped apartment outside Nashville. Sweat dripped down my neck. My hands froze around the hammer. 3 months. That's how long it had been since Madison left me standing in our kitchen saying, "I just don't love you the same anymore." No warning. No fight. Just gone. The phone kept buzzing. Finally, I answered. "Hello?" A soft southern voice came through. "Ethan? Honey, it's Claire." My chest tightened immediately. Claire Monroe. Madison's mom. Hey. You still fixing fences these days?" I laughed bitterly. "Among other things." "Well," she hesitated. "Mine collapsed during the storm last night. Backyard's completely open now. I'd hire someone else, but you always did honest work." I looked at the unfinished wall in front of me. "You can probably find somebody cheaper." "I don't want cheaper." Silence. Then she said something strange. "Finish it, and I'll make it worth your while." Something about the way she said it made my stomach twist. Not flirtatious. Not manipulative. Almost emotional. I rubbed my forehead. "Claire, does Madison know you called me?" Another pause. "No," she whispered. "And maybe it's better that way." That should have been my sign to hang up. Instead, 2 hours later, I pulled my dusty truck into the long gravel driveway of the Monroe house, the same place where Madison and I once planned our future together under summer fireworks. The fence really was destroyed. But the second Claire opened the front door, I realized the fence wasn't the real reason she called me. Her eyes were red. Like she'd been crying for days. And before I could even speak, she quietly said, "She's coming home tonight." The backyard looked worse than I expected. Wood panels were scattered across the soaked grass. Several posts had snapped completely in half after the storm. The Monroe property backed into thick Tennessee woods, and without the fence, the entire yard felt exposed. Claire handed me coffee while I examined the damage. "You still take it black," she said softly. I stared at the cup. "You remembered." "I remember a lot about you, Ethan." That hurt more than it should have. I set my toolbox down and got to work pulling nails from broken boards. Claire stayed nearby, pretending to organize gardening supplies while nervously glancing toward the driveway every few minutes. Finally, I asked the question sitting in my chest. "Why's Madison coming home?" Claire froze. She lost her job in Chicago. I leaned against the fence post. Thought she loved Chicago. She loved running away. The words came out sharper than she intended. Claire sighed immediately afterward. "Sorry. I shouldn't say that." But I understood what she meant. Madison had always chased bigger cities, bigger dreams, bigger lives. I was the guy who liked small towns, Sunday football, and fixing things with my hands. Eventually, she decided I represented everything she wanted to escape. A pickup truck roared past the house outside, making Claire jump. "You okay?" I asked. She forced a smile. "Just tired." But something felt off. Around noon, while I poured concrete for a new post, Claire came outside again. "You ever hate someone," she asked carefully, "and still miss them every single day?" I wiped sweat from my forehead. That's basically the definition of love. Her eyes watered instantly. Not for herself. For her daughter. That's when I realized Claire wasn't trying to fix a fence. She was trying to fix something much bigger. And when headlights finally appeared in the driveway near sunset, Claire looked terrified. Madison was home. The car door slammed hard enough to echo through the neighborhood. I kept my eyes on the fence. Didn't matter. I still felt her presence immediately. Madison Monroe walked around the side of the house wearing ripped jeans, oversized sunglasses, and the exact perfume that used to linger on my hoodies for days. She stopped dead when she saw me. "What the hell is he doing here?" Claire stepped forward nervously. "Honey, the fence. You called Ethan?" Her voice carried pure disbelief. I forced myself to stay calm. "Relax. I'm just working." Madison laughed coldly. "Of course you are." The old anger instantly came rushing back. I stood slowly. "Nice to see you too." She pulled off her sunglasses, and for one dangerous second, I saw emotion crack through her expression. Regret maybe. Pain. But it disappeared fast. "You couldn't hire literally anybody else?" she snapped at her mother. Claire folded her arms. Maybe because he actually shows up when people need him. That landed hard. Madison's face changed immediately. Wow, she whispered. So that's what this is. I looked between them carefully. There was history in that sentence. Fresh history. Madison grabbed her suitcase from the car. I'm not doing this today. As she stormed inside, Claire looked exhausted. You two still fight like married people, she muttered. We're not anything anymore, I answered. But the words felt hollow. Later that evening, I stayed longer than I planned, reinforcing the final section of fencing before dark. While packing my tools, I heard yelling from inside the house. Mother and daughter. Madison's voice cracked through the open kitchen window. You don't get to blame me for Dad. Everything went silent afterward. I froze. Claire's husband had died 2 years ago from a sudden heart attack. Madison had barely come home for the funeral. A few seconds later, the front door burst open. Madison walked straight toward me, tears running down her face. You should leave, she whispered shakily. But before I could answer, she suddenly broke down crying right there beside the unfinished fence. And against every ounce of common sense I had left, I stepped toward her. Madison tried to wipe away the tears before I reached her. Don't, she muttered. Don't look at me like that. Like what? Like you still care. The words hit like a punch. Night air rolled through the broken sections of fence as cicadas screamed from the trees. For a second, it felt exactly like old summers together, except now there was a canyon between us. You okay? I asked quietly. She laughed bitterly. Obviously not. I leaned against the fence post. What happened in Chicago? Madison stared into the darkness. Everything. Little by little, the truth spilled out. She lost her marketing job after company layoffs. Her boyfriend cheated on her with a coworker. Rent skyrocketed. Friends disappeared the second her life stopped looking glamorous online. I spent years acting like I was too good for this town, she whispered. Then suddenly nobody in the city cared whether I existed. I didn't know what to say. Part of me still wanted answers for the way she left me. Another part just hated seeing her broken. You could have called me, I finally said. She looked at me with genuine guilt. I didn't think I deserved to. Before I could answer, Claire appeared at the back door. Dinner's ready, she said carefully. Madison instantly stiffened again. I'm not hungry. Madison. I said I'm not hungry. She disappeared into the house. Claire sighed heavily beside me. She's been angry at the whole world since her father died. I packed my toolbox quietly. That's not an excuse. No, Claire admitted. But grief makes people destroy the people who love them most. As I headed toward my truck, Claire stopped me one more time. Come back tomorrow, she said softly. I frowned. Fence'll probably be done by noon. That's okay. Her voice cracked slightly. Maybe I just don't want either of you alone right now. The next morning, rain covered the Monroe property in silver mist. I arrived early, expecting awkward silence. Instead, Madison was already outside drinking coffee barefoot on the porch swing. For a moment, she looked exactly like the girl I fell in love with at 19. You're late, she teased weakly. I checked my watch. It's 7:15. Exactly. I laughed before I could stop myself. And somehow, that tiny laugh broke the tension. By mid-morning, she was helping me hold fence panels steady while I drilled them into place. We worked side by side like muscle memory had taken over. You still hum when you work, she noticed. You still talk too much when you're nervous. She smirked. Fair. Hours passed easier than either of us expected. Then came the dangerous part. The memories. She pointed toward the old oak tree near the property line. Remember when you tried to build me a treehouse? It collapsed. Yeah, because you were showing off. You kissed me afterward. You had a concussion. We both laughed. Then silence fell again. The kind filled with things unsaid. Finally, Madison spoke quietly. Why didn't you move on? I kept drilling without looking at her. Who says I didn't? She studied me carefully. Because you still look at me the same. That one almost broke me. I set the drill down. You shattered me, Madison. Her eyes immediately filled. I know. No calls. No explanation. You just disappeared. She nodded shakily. Because I was scared. Of what? Her voice cracked. Of loving you more than my dreams. That sentence hit harder than the breakup itself. For the first time in months, I saw the truth. She didn't leave because she stopped loving me. She left because she thought love would cost her freedom. And judging by the tears rolling down her face now, freedom hadn't made her happy at all. By sunset, the fence was nearly finished. Only one final section remained near the back corner of the yard. Claire insisted on cooking dinner for both of us, so Madison and I sat at the patio table while thunder rolled in the distance. For the first time in forever, it almost felt normal. Then Claire brought out an old cardboard box. "I found these in the attic," she said quietly. Madison frowned. "Mom." Claire ignored her and handed me the box. Inside were photographs. Dozens of them. Me and Madison at county fairs. Football games. Cheap apartments. Christmas mornings. Engagement ring catalogs. My stomach dropped. Madison looked horrified. "Why would you bring those out?" "Because both of you keep pretending your story ended," Claire snapped suddenly. And it didn't. Silence crashed over the table. Then Claire said something neither of us expected. "Madison never told you why she really left." I looked slowly toward Madison. Her face turned pale instantly. "Mom, stop. You deserve the truth, Ethan." Madison stood abruptly. I said stop. But Claire's eyes filled with tears. "The week before she moved to Chicago," Claire whispered, "she found out her father was dying." Everything froze. Madison looked destroyed. Claire continued carefully. "Her father begged her not to give up her dreams to stay here and watch him die. So she left anyway, because she thought if she stayed for you, she'd resent both of you forever." I couldn't breathe. Madison covered her mouth, crying silently now. "I thought leaving was the brave thing," she whispered. "But every day afterward felt worse." Thunder cracked across the sky. Then came the final blow. Claire looked directly at me and said, "She still keeps the ring you bought her." The storm hit fast. Rain exploded across the backyard while Madison and I rushed to secure tools beneath the porch roof. Neither of us spoke. Too much truth had surfaced too quickly. Finally, Madison turned toward me with trembling hands. "Say something." I stared at her through the rain. "I don't even know where to start." "How about yelling? You deserve that." "I did yell," I answered quietly. "For months. You just weren't there to hear it." That shattered her completely. She sat heavily on the porch steps, crying openly now. "I hated myself after I left," she admitted. "Every single day." "Then why stay gone?" "Because I thought you'd moved on." I laughed bitterly. "I rebuilt half this town trying to forget you." Lightning flashed across the yard, illuminating the nearly completed fence between us. Madison looked at it for a long moment. "You know what's ironic?" she whispered. "You spent all day fixing broken pieces while ours stayed broken." I sat beside her slowly. "For what it's worth," I said, "I never stopped loving you." She broke instantly at those words. Madison leaned into me, shaking from sobs, and my arms wrapped around her automatically like no time had passed at all. Then the back door opened. Claire stood there crying quietly. But this time, she was smiling. "I should probably tell you both the truth now," she said softly. We looked up. Claire wiped her eyes. The storm damaged one section of fence. I frowned. "What?" She smiled through tears. "I may have exaggerated the rest." Madison stared at her mother in disbelief. "You manipulated us?" Claire shrugged emotionally. "Your father spent 25 years teaching me one thing." "What's that?" Madison asked. Claire looked directly at us. "When something precious breaks, you fix it before it's too late." The rain finally slowed just after midnight. Madison and I stayed on the porch wrapped in old blankets while Claire slept upstairs. The storm left everything dripping in silver beneath the moonlight. Neither of us wanted the night to end. Madison rested her head against my shoulder carefully. "Do you ever think about the life we almost had?" "All the time." She closed her eyes. "Me too." For a while, we just listened to frogs croaking beyond the repaired fence. Then she whispered the question I'd feared most. "If I asked for another chance, would you hate me for it?" I turned toward her slowly. "Madison, you wrecked me." Tears filled her eyes immediately. "But," I continued, "I also never loved anyone the way I loved you." She started crying again, soft this time. Not from pain. From relief. I was so scared to come home, she admitted. Because if you'd stopped loving me completely, I don't think I could survive hearing it. I reached into my jacket pocket carefully. The old engagement ring box was still there. I never understood why I kept carrying it around all these months. Until now. Madison's breath caught the second she saw it. You still have it? Couldn't throw it away. Her hands shook violently. Ethan, I'm not pretending the past didn't happen, I said firmly. And I'm not magically healed. She nodded through tears. I know. But if we do this again, I whispered, we do it honestly. No running. No disappearing. Madison broke down completely. I swear. Then, under the soft porch light and the smell of rain-soaked wood, I opened the ring box one more time. And this time, she said yes before I even asked. 3 months later, I stood in the exact same backyard tightening the final screw on the completed fence. Only now, Madison stood beside me wearing my old flannel shirt and a diamond ring that caught sunlight every time she moved her hand. You missed a spot, she teased. I built the whole thing. And I supervised. You drank lemonade. Leadership is important. I laughed and pulled her closer. Things still weren't perfect. Healing never works like movie magic. We argued sometimes. We still carried scars. Some nights Madison woke up crying about her father. Some mornings I still feared she'd leave again. But this time, we stayed. Together. Claire stepped onto the porch holding sweet tea with the proudest smile I'd ever seen. You two finally finished it? Madison grinned. Took long enough. Claire looked at the fence quietly for a moment. Then she surprised both of us. Your father would have loved this. Madison's eyes watered instantly. Mine did too. The repaired fence stretched across the backyard like a symbol none of us needed explained anymore. Broken things could still stand again. As the sun dipped lower, Madison intertwined her fingers with mine. You know, she whispered, smiling softly, Mom never actually paid you. I smirked. Yeah? Claire raised her glass from the porch. Oh, honey, she called out. I absolutely did. Madison laughed as I kissed her beneath the golden Tennessee sunset. And for the first time in a very long time, home didn't feel broken anymore.